Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The drivers of the Apex this Mazda Sunday series, they can see over the horizon. They can finally see that last little bit of season that they have to get through. Some of them will be claiming titles. Some of them will be very close to claiming a title. Some of them maybe not, but they have to get through tonight first. And let me tell you, it might just be the trickiest circuit they have faced yet. It's Mount Panorama. We're at beautiful Bathurst, down here in the land down under. My name, Mac Nelson, of course, coming to you guys. It's not going to be your usual, sort of broadcast team you see here tonight. Rob Campbell, my big boss man, the man that, got me into Racer Nexus. Very good man. He usually covers the Apex this Mazda Sunday series. It's going to be me. I'm going to be your lone voice up here in the booth tonight. I'm going to be running your production, running your commentary as well. So things might get a little dicey, especially here at Bathurst. We're going to have fun, though. Thank you guys for inviting me into your home here tonight on a lovely Sunday night. If I'm talking a little fast, if I'm seeming a little skittish, well, I do have a 26-hour drive that I'm taking as soon as I press the stop streaming button here. So hopefully you guys can understand. We're going to have a lot of fun, though, here tonight at Bathurst. Going to be 2 20-minute heats, per usual, from these guys over at the Apex this Mazda Sunday series. It is round number 11 out of 12. We are at Bathurst today for 2 20-minute heats. Next week, we'll be going to Road America. The fantastic, ever so prestigious and iconic Road America. They've done a lot of races in America this season. The Apex this Mazda Sunday series, that is. Only a few foreign soil races today, being one of them, of course, Bathurst. Very, very iconic track and a very fun track. So it's going to be fun to see how these pro drivers can maybe get around maybe some of these AM drivers, because it's a very narrow track here at Bathurst. We'll bring in the track info for you as the drivers are gridding up. Or, oh, they were. Oh, my apologies. They don't start actually on the grid. They don't do a full formation lap. So we are here at Bathurst in Australia. It opened in March of 1938. Very, very impressive 3.861 mile circuit here with 23 separate corners. So it's going to be very, very tricky. Everybody knows going up the mountain, down the mountain's going to be the most chaotic part of the track. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some crazy stuff here tonight. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you stay for that second heat race as well, because top 4 are going to invert. Everything else is going to be how it lays, how it plays, as they say on the golf course. But let's get into your starting grid for tonight's race. P1 is going to be Michael Chase, with P2 being Jim Feliz. P3 is going to go to Joshua Soto. P4, Charles Wolf. Row number 3 sees Michael Brock with Brian Lemke. Row number 4 goes to Thomas Lathrop, Kelly Greenhoe on his outside in P8. P9, James Newell. P10, Ozzik Silu. Row number 6 is going to see Gregorio Moreno Jr. with Sean Teeter. And I'm realizing now that I might not get all the way through this grid. Row number 7, Joshua Smith and Joseph Marr. I apologize. Row number 8, John Cooper, Kent Kruger. In the event I don't make it, I apologize. Mark Sherman in P17. Outside him going to be Keegan Garrick in P18. P19 going to Mike Bond. Outside him in row number 10 is going to be Michael Tanagoretta. Row number 11, Harrison Mealy and Ryan Ryder. Row number 12 goes to Christopher Croteau. I apologize. William Stern as well. We are green flag racing here at Bathurst. I'm not used to a grid that large. I apologize. That was row 13. You saw at the bottom of your screen. Row 14, Aaron Sunday. We saw a lot of love for him in chat. Jake Harrigan as well. P29, Matt Bond. P30, Uwe Hale. And that's going to be a very good move by Charles Wolf down on the inside. Rest of your grid will be on the bottom of your screen. We'll get that a little better next time around, I promise. See, row 17, it's already starting towards the front to be a single file draft fest. We knew it was more than likely going to happen, as row number 19 sees Mark Bray and Pat Wilson. I do believe that will be your final row. So yes, we are racing here at Bathurst. 20-minute heat race. 100% payout in both races. You do get scored for your class placement. So Sean Teeter going to be out to the best start when it comes to the AM category. But when it comes to overall and the pro class, Jim Feliz has got a stern hold on that lead. Michael Chase close behind, though, as we start down the hill for the first time here tonight, folks. And if you're on the iRacing official service, if you know about Mount Panorama, or Bathurst, as a lot of people like to call it, oh, you would know that this track gets very, very vicious, very fast. Jim Feliz with a little bit of a compromised line as he's coming down the hill. And if you mess one corner up, it's going to mess every corner you do up. So you got to make sure you are prepared and locked in. Aaron Sunday had a little bit of a moment going off track. We'll take a look at that. But for the most part, it looks like a lot of these drivers staying vigilant, staying nice. Whoa, Aaron Sunday, maybe a little bit of a connection problem there as well. I'm not entirely sure about that. We'll have to check in on him maybe just a little later. So for right now, top 3 runs Michael Chase, Jim Feliz, and Charles Wolf, all pro drivers. Mike Bond going to now be the first driver of the AMs in P15. Not entirely sure what happened to our leader, Sean Teeter. Whoa, that rhymed. He had to jump to the pits for something. Not entirely sure if that was damage. I didn't see a crash report. We've got 3 wide coming through the start-finish line. Starting lap number 2. It looks like it might have been Brian Lemke, Kelly Greeno, and Michael Brock. I'm not completely familiar with all of the schemes yet, or the liveries, I should say, so I apologize. Charles Wolf, I think, unless it's the wrap playing tricks on me, I believe he's got a little bit of damage to that front end. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Maybe running into the back of Jim Feliz. As we have a little bit of a 2x2 going here. We're hopping on board with James Newell here. He is currently sitting in P9. He's losing positions, though, it looks like. Thomas Lathrop, Michael Brock doing their best to get through there. And, I mean, just look at that, guys. It's so narrow coming up and down this mountain. The first sector of the track where it's just straight, I mean, hey, it's fine. You're driving in a straight line. But once you get to the tight and technical mountain that you have to overcome every single lap as we pass through the Etihad boards, it's very, very difficult to A, get an overtake, and B, hit every single apex perfectly. Because like I said earlier, if you don't hit it perfectly, that's going to compromise everything you do going down the hill. And whew, Kelly Greenhoe almost had a moment there. Moving back up towards the leaders, everything seems to be in fine shape for now. It's about a 0.4 of a second gap between a lot of these top 5 cars. They're keeping it smooth. They're keeping it steady. As we got some Michael Brock love in the chat. Also some Aaron Sunday love in the chat. So make sure, if you guys are watching, make sure you shout out the driver you're rooting for here tonight as we see Michael Chase trying to chase down Jim Feliz here in the lead. Seems like a big battle going on here between an AM and Pro driver, John Cooper, and the number 77. Not able to currently get past our AM leader, Mike Bond. Mike Bond started this race in P19. He sits in P14, so he's up 5 spots. Doing a very good job here at fending off, 1, the rest of his class, and 2, John Cooper. If he can keep John Cooper behind him, there's a pretty good chance John Cooper, as I take that back, John Cooper has spun it in turn number 1. He currently rests in the pit exit lane. So that's going to be commentator curse number 1 on the night tonight. Maybe we'll have to keep count. Michael Chase still out here in front. Him and Jim Feliz been battling on and off. You cannot count out Brian Lemke, though. He sits in P4. He's in a very opportunistic position, but the car right behind him, the 07 of Joshua Soto, ran the fastest lap with a 2:31.70. So although it is the first really equally timed lap, it goes to say that running 2 seconds nearly faster than the rest of the field almost is very, very quick, very elite pace. So Joshua Soto, he's always up here towards the top. We know this. We see it from him week in and week out. I've only been here 3 or 4 weeks, and even I know that. Joshua Soto, I mean, all these top 5 guys right now pretty much always going to be there, and that's what reflects in the championship point standings, which we will take a look at right now. So your pro division is going to see basically all 5 of these guys that are in the top 5. Michael Brock sits in P6, but it's going to be Jim Feliz with 308 points to lead the Pro Series. Brian Lemke with 286, or 285, I apologize. Joshua Soto in third with 278. Charles Wolf takes a reasonable step back from those top 3 guys with 231. Michael Brock, another big step down with 200. Now for your mid-pack Larrys, it's a little bit of a different situation. We've got an equal spread all through the top 5. Keegan Gehrig is going to be leading the MPL division, or class, I should say, with 250 points. Justin Back, 234. Ryan Ryder with 221. He sits in P3. Aaron Sunday in P4 with 213. And 1 singular point behind him goes to Sean Teeter with 212 points. So we've got tonight, and then we've got next week 2 races each. So we've got essentially 4 rounds left in the Apex this Mazda Sunday series, and it's looking very close in both divisions. This is definitely not wrapped up yet for the likes of Jim Feliz and Keegan Gehrig. They're going to have to put together very good performances both here and at Road America next week if they want to win that championship. Top 3 starting to squeeze together a little closer now. Going to be a 0.3 of a second gap back to Jim Feliz with a 0.2 of a second gap back to Charles Wolf. Joshua Smith is currently leading the mid-pack Larrys. The 235 Mazda machine currently sits in P13 with Ryan Ryder 2 cars back from him. What an opportunity this would be for Ryan Ryder. He currently sits, as we hop on board with him, he currently sits in front of Keegan Garrig on the track, but behind him in terms of championship standing. So this would be huge for Ryan Ryder if he could finish one, if not both of these rounds above Keegan Garrig. But there's Garrig now in the Donkey Kong car, 640. He's going to make his way down the mountain, and unfortunately, Harrison Mealy is beside him. And although Harrison Mealy does want to fight for this position, and he has every right to, unfortunately, it's going to hurt their time. It's going to hurt their efforts in catching Joshua Smith for that class lead. Because everybody knows if you battle, the guys in front are just going to extend their lead. But here at Mount Panorama, where if 2 cars are side by side, their lap times go extremely slower because they have to take compromised lines through every single corner, and they have to give so much and be so careful because of how narrow this track actually is. It turns out to be one heck of a nightmare pretty quick. Really, the only places you can go 2 wide and 3 wide comfortably are the last sector once you go down the mountain, and really the first sector before you get to the mountain. So that's going to be a big overtaking opportunity for a lot of these drivers. As we see Joshua Smith here trying to stick it on the inside of Michael Tanagretta. It's not going to work, and with him still leading the MPL division as Tony Wallace, I believe that was. Yes, Tony Wallace is going to take a unorthodox line through turn number 1, I should say. He sits side by side with Ryan Ryder right now, the 181 and the 78. Not in the same class, though, so they're effectively not really battling. Ryan Ryder is going to squeeze out in front, so now he can pursue Josh Smith. James Newell in the 23 Mazda, as look at that single file line. He ran the fastest lap of the race last lap with a 2:31.51. So very, very quick pace out of James Newell. Be very interesting to see if he can carry that pace all the way up to the top. I mean, that's half second faster than Michael Chase here. And Michael Chase in that Mazda, trying his best to keep things steady. It's a very, very difficult task here at Bathurst, and we see a little bit of the shaking up now. Jim Feliz, I'm not entirely sure what has happened. Oh, we've got cars colliding. We've got cars flipping. Jim Feliz can't even turn his car anymore, as that's going to be a big drop for Charles Wolf and Jim Feliz. They're both going to go to the pits. We'll have another look at it. Oh, and that's going to be just a hard wall hit. And, I mean, it just starts, and it does not end. Joshua Soto going to get clipped from Jim Feliz there on his left front. That's going to cause him to get in with, wow, yeah, James Newell, I believe that was, in the 23 Mazda. He's going to catch a little bit of that. Going to be additional contact even after the fact. I mean, the race is over for both of these gentlemen. Very unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. I was wondering when the first one was going to happen. As now we've got a little bit of separation in our top 5. Michael Chase boasting a 2.5-second lead over the 41 of Brian Lemke. Brian Lemke's got 2 very hungry drivers behind him in the forms of Michael Brock and James Newell. And then rounding out the top 5 sits another 2 seconds back. It's going to be Thomas Lathrop. As you see, Lathrop looking into the sunset there. He sees what could be the 4 cars in front of him. He really wants to fight for that. He's got to hope they battle and battle so he can get closer. I'm sure he will. James Newell, MAV Motorsport driver. started 9th, currently sits in 3rd, so +6 for him today. He's going to be a very big mover, but it's not going to be anywhere near the likes of Tony Wallace, who is 22 positions up. So the other MAV Motorsport driver making waves, started this race, P34, sitting in 12th right now. And another big one's going to be Aaron Law, Canadian driver, that number 468. He's jumped up 19 positions. Started P35, currently sitting P16. Spencer Baudouin in the 010. He's another one up 22 spots. When it comes to the losers of the situation, it's, you know, unfortunately going to be Jim Feliz, Joshua Soto, and Charles Wolf. They all dropped 29 spots. They are in the pits. They are done for the night. Kent Kruger's going to enter pit lane as well. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. This track definitely very difficult to get right. Not only in a hot lap stance, but when you start to take to the grid, especially in a full grid like this, we've got 38 Mazdas out there tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It gets very, very difficult. Sky Lounge 41 there of Brian Lemke looks to be in great shape, though, as he is going to challenge Michael Chase for this race lead. Michael Chase in the 371 there. And it's interesting how kind of the polar opposite of what I thought would happen has happened. We've only had one big crash, and it involved Jim Feliz and Charles Wolf, just to name a few. However, I'm surprised we're not seeing more of it out of these mid-pack guys. I mean, I'm not trying to say the mid-pack Larrys as a class overall. I'm just saying everybody in the middle of the field. It's very bunched up right now. So the fact that these guys are probably stressing about their grid position, but somehow keeping it clean, says a lot. As we see a big line being formed here. Joseph Marr, Gregorio Moreno, Ozzik Sulu, Michael Tanagretta. Joshua Smith going to be catching the very last leg of that. He boasts a 7-second lead over class rival Ryan Ryder. So the 235 Mazda looking good currently in race number 1. Here comes Michael Chase down the hill once again. James Newell and Michael Brock are having looks at each other a lot more than Michael Chase and Brian Lemke. So Newell and Brock wanting to kind of scuffle for that last spot on the podium. We'll have to keep an eye on that. This is going to be your closest battle on track when it comes to the Pro Series. Actually, Michael Tanagretta and Ozzik Sulu are pretty much the exact same distance away from each other. So two pretty identical fights going on. Joshua Smith has absolutely no sense of urgency whatsoever as he sits 7 seconds still ahead of Ryan Ryder. So it's going to be very, very likely that Joshua Smith has this race wrapped up for the mid-pack Larrys. However, for our Pro Division, going to be a lot different of a situation. White flag in the air as, whoa, I apologize, gentlemen. I know Bathurst is a very big track, but it does not seem like 20 minutes has gone already. So we're going to start our final lap here at Bathurst for race number 1. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. Ryan Ryder has closed the lead a second down to 5.8 seconds, and whoa, the lead's going quick. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Joshua Smith, but Ryan Ryder is catching up at a very, very quick pace. So once these pros cross the line, we'll go back and rehash that. We'll revisit that battle going on between Joshua Smith and Ryan Ryder. If it does indeed become a battle, there's a very good chance it might not. However, the pros, the top 4, heading up the mountain for the last time. Michael Chase has been dominant this race. Jim Feliz looked like he could hold a candle up to him, but we know how that went down earlier on in the race. So it's going to be a 4-horse race, like the 4 horsemen, man. Blanchard, Flair, Arn Anderson. I can't remember the 4th one. Oh, I shouldn't have made the 4 horsemen reference without remembering all 4 of them first. But hey, that's what Mac Nelson does, man. It's scuffed streams all the way around. Race number 1, though, has been the opposite of scuffed. It's been fantastic to watch. Sound off in the comments on who you want to win race number 1. A little bit of a wall tap as we get finished with the mountain, heading down the hill now. Michael Chase boasting a half-second lead over Brian Lemke. I believe it might have been Brian Lemke who actually did hit the wall. Maybe that would explain kind of the slow-up for the other 3 cars, as James Newell and Michael Brock are looking to get out ahead of Brian Lemke. Michael Chase had to surrender that outside position. He's tucked into the inside. He might not be able to keep all the momentum that he wants. He is going to get clear. It still remains Michael Chase, Brian Lemke, James Newell, Michael Brock coming down to the final corner. It's 3 wide for second. Michael Chase's position is pretty much... No, it's not! Coming to the line. Oh my goodness. There was a little bit of pandemonium between Brock and Newell there in the final corner. They went to war all night here in race number 1. I would love to go back and get a look at that. Wow, so coming down to the final corner. They're going to get 3 wide here. It's going to be a very bad corner for Michael Chase, and it's going to be, I mean, look at that. Barely crossing the line ahead of him. Wow. What an incredible race number 1. And if you were wondering, the battle in the MPL class turned into way less of a battle. So you did not miss anything there. Josh Smith going to get that mid-pack Larry win. Oh, very, very cool stuff here out of Bathurst. The first half of the race did not play out how I thought it was going to, and I'm sure as a lot of you thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be chaos at every single step of the way, but these drivers kept it cool and kept it clean. And if it wasn't for the incident there between the top pro guys, I believe it was lap number 2 or 3 that happened in, things could have been a lot different. That could have been a 6 or 7. That could have been a 6 or 7 car battle for the win. But it only ends up being 4. Michael Chase taking that one all the way to the bank, as he is going to be our first winner here tonight in Australia. I believe we actually have a few cars still out on track, yet Joshua Soto going to just now complete his final lap. I believe that will mark it done and finished. As yes, indeed it will. We'll take a look at those results here very, very quickly. But it was fun. Michael Chase getting the win there. And we actually have Michael Chase in the waiting room. We'll bring him up. Michael Chase, Mac up in the booth, man. Real quick, I'm gonna let you warm up. I'm gonna let you have a little bit of a break. Just walk me through how that went down on the last lap and what it felt like.
I figured I was a sitting duck, to be honest, which I was, but absolutely got a massive bump from James, which kind of took away the momentum from the others. So managed to stick with it then. It was wild.
And going into heat race number 2, are you confident that you can replicate the same, or do you think people are going to maybe catch on?
Oh, I hope we don't have an incident again in Dipper, but I think barring that, it should be a great finish.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. We'll let you get out there, take a break, do whatever you need, and hopefully we see you back up here a little later.
Thanks, Mac.
So with that being said, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Race number 2, top 4 invert, is going to be right back here on Racer Nexus. You're watching the Apex This Mazda Sunday Series.
Can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway.
Well, that was a fantastic start to our night here at Bathurst. We saw Michael Chase take the win, and we'll go over the results very, very shortly. However, I want to get this grid out of the way. I don't want what happened last time to happen now. So with the top 4 invert, James Newell is going to start on row number 1. Michael Brock is going to be his outside. Row number 2 rests with Brian Lemke and Michael Chase. P5 going to Thomas Lathrop, with P6 being Gregorio Amarino Jr. Row number 4, Joseph Marr with Michael Tanogretta, the MAV Motorsport number 200 driver. Row number 5, Ozek Silu and Joshua Smith. I believe the same thing has happened. I did not learn. Row 6, Kevin Zhu and Spencer Baudouin. Row number 7, Ryan Ryder and Aaron Law. I deeply apologize. I'm going to have to abandon this grid announcement again. Row number 8, Harrison Mealy and Keegan Gehrig. In the Donkey Kong, don't forget, row number 9, Aaron Sunday and Christopher Croteau. Row number 10, Uwe Hale and Glenn Blanchard. Row number 11 sees William Stern and Justin Back. As we get set to go green, row number 12 sees Stan Hammonds and Pat Wilson. We are green again here at Bathurst. Row number 13, Jim Felice, Charles Wolf. Row number 14, Sean Teeter and Joshua Soto as they come down into turn 1. Row number 15, Kent Kruger and Mark Sherman. A little bit of a dip off the track for James Newell. P31 goes to Tony Wallace. P32, Matt Bond. Row number 17 sees Kelly Greenhoe and Mike Bond. I feel like I just said Mike Bond. Row number 18, Jake Harrigan and John Cooper. With P37 being David Metzler and P38, Mark Bray. That will round out your grid as the drivers get ready to start up the mountain for the first time here in race number 2. James Newell doing a very good job of getting that separation early. You don't see that a lot in these road course races. Typically the toe or the draft, as some people like to call it, will kind of make everything shrink up in the beginning, and it's not until the tires get a little warm and we get a few laps in that you see separation. But James Newell doing a very good job here of getting the pace right off the rip, and he's really taking advantage of Michael Brock, who speed-wise is just simply not carrying as much speed into these corners right now. So Michael Brock might be getting bested, or maybe not bested, but challenged for sure for his position by the likes of Brian Lemke, Michael Chase, Thomas Lathrop. It's going to be a very, very hard fight back for Jim Feliz here. He is in the middle of a bunch of AM drivers, currently sitting in P19, so he's got to pull something very magical out of the hat here if he wants to have himself a good race number 2. As we get the timing tower up for you guys now, as we come down to the end of lap number 1, just a few more corners for these drivers. That left-right hard braking zone. I mean, you're carrying a whole bunch of speed coming off that mountain. As you see a car towards the back of your screen get a little bit tight off track, just a tiny bit. Michael Brock going to lead us. As Ryan Ryder has had a little bit of a moment, I can see him going down the grid. As I wasn't entirely sure. I wasn't entirely sure why. He does have a meatball, so we're going to have to go back and investigate that. Michael Brock turned around outside of row number 1. I'm sorry, there's a lot of stuff happening. We'll get to it all, I promise. First, here's Ryan Ryder coming through the final corner. He's just going to get a little bit of oversteer out of those back tires, and that's going to be the pit wall hit for him. So just barely pushing it over the limit. And I mean barely. So not the best for him there. Michael Brock had himself a little bit of a moment trying to find exactly where he indeed went off track. We'll see that here coming out of the first corner. Michael Brock in that 421, yeah, unfortunately, just could not get it right. And had no tires on the racing surface. That's going to be a very tricky and very bumpy ride for any Mazda driver. So that's going to be his race number 2. More than likely done. James Newell, after getting passed by both Lathrop and Lemke, he has found a way back around the number 84 of Thomas Lathrop. He currently sits in P2. He's trying to chase down Brian Lemke. But like I said in race number 1, Brian Lemke has been very nice, very consistent here tonight. And it's going to be very, very cool to see if he can get this win here. We're going to go back and show you the results of heat race number 1. Because I didn't really get a chance to do that. Michael Chase takes the victory. Brian Lemke in P2. Michael Brock rounding out that podium. James Newell, Thomas Lathrop, Gregorio Moreno Jr., Joseph Marr, Michael Tanagretta, Oz Exilu, Kevin Zhu. going to be the top 10 for the Going Pros class. Over to the mid-pack Larrys, it saw Joshua Smith winning with Ryan Ryder 4 seconds behind and Aaron Law 7 seconds behind him. Top 10 goes to Mealy, Gehrig, Sunday, Croteau, Uwe Hale, Glenn Blanchard, and William Stern. So very good effort by those guys. They did a very good job. Joshua Smith just got very, I don't want to say lucky because that feels like I'm taking away from him, because that's not what I'm trying to do whatsoever as we get back to the live race view here. But he got very benefited, I guess would be the word, by the two pros that were battling for position. They separated him and Soto. Or not him and Soto, I apologize. Him, and I can't even remember who placed second in the mid-pack Larrys. That's how small my peanut brain is, ladies and gentlemen. But Brian Lemke still leading the pro division. Thomas Lathrop going to be running your fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute 32.65. So that number 84 Mazda driver, Thomas Lathrop, he's feeling very good. As we looked on board with him for a second. Whoa, that's going to be James Newell. He had a very tricky set and entry into those downhill corners. It almost costed him everything. He managed to check up and get going back on the right track, but all that means is that Brian Lemke is just that much further away, and Thomas Lathrop, Michael Chase, and Gregorio Moreno Jr. are right there to take advantage. So it's already starting to be a very tricky race number 2 for the MAV Motorsport driver, James Newell. Looking at Kevin Zhu now, we're hopping on board. He's trying to chase down Gregorio Moreno Jr. That would make this battle for the lead a 6-car fight rather than a 5-car fight, but Kevin Zhu in the 243 already up 5 spots on the race here tonight. Started in P11, now sits in P5. As I deeply apologize. There we go. You can now see the driver in the bottom left again. I do apologize for that. Gregorio Moreno Jr. did have the fastest lap, but you cannot forget about the main man in charge. He might not have had a good week here at Bathurst, but he sure is laying down the law. 231.95, and your mid-pack Larrys championship leader, Keegan Gehrig, just had a moment. Turn number 1 has claimed a lot of drivers here tonight. No damage on the car, though. That is fantastic. No damage on the car, so he is going to be able to continue. But, okay, sorry, I've got a little bit of a weird thing going on with my iRacing right now. I do not know why that is the case. I apologize about that. Brian Lemke still going to be your leader in race number 2. There's a big battle happening between a pro and an AM. That's Stan Hammonds and Glenn Blanchard back in P12 or P22 and P21. I apologize. Joshua Soto has had a big moment. Go back and take a look at it. I apologize. That is the wrong thing. Joshua Soto here. As it looks like we're about to get into the mountain, and he's just going to come across the nose of what looked like the 216, maybe. I'm not sure if that's really even a number. Might have been the 21 of Matt Bond. Could have maybe been that. But Joshua Soto, now Christopher Croteau has had a little bit of a moment. We'll go take a look at that as... Oh, I guess I lied. I apologize. Mike Bond's going to be backwards. What are we looking at here? He's doing the track backwards. Ladies and gentlemen, he is doing the downhill section backwards in reverse. He's going to turn it around, too. Look at him whipping it. Brian O'Connor, School of Driving. I don't know why he sent it to the pits. Oh, he didn't. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's on me or if it's on them with this connection, but Yeah, I thought Mike Bond might have jumped to the pits, but no, son. After that, you got to keep going. That guy was driving. Back up towards the front, 9.5 minutes left. Driver starting lap number 5, Jim Feliz clocks a new fastest lap. So it's going to be P10 for him. How far up the grid can he go? He's starting to have an incredible night here at Bathurst. After what seemed like a very, very bad start, and don't get me wrong, it was a bad start. He finished, I'm not even sure, like P20 or something in race number 1. But Jim Feliz up 15 spots. So he started P25, so I guess that's where he finished, was P25. He now sits in 9th after that pass of the 911 Oz Exilu. And Jim Feliz now trying to chase down Spencer Baudouin, the Canadian driver. Back up to the front, it's still single file, bump draft nation. As we got Brian Lemke, Thomas Lathrop, James Newell, Michael Chase, Gregorio Moreno Jr. And unfortunately, the 243 of Kevin Zhu has fallen off a little bit as he has a Totino's Pizza Rolls on his wrap. That's incredible. Why have I not acknowledged that tonight? I mean, I'm a big boy, man. And if I see pizza rolls, I'm going to say something about it. I cannot believe I didn't spot that earlier. I'm not supposed to be biased as a commentator, but I kind of hope he wins. But Brian Lemke here out in front, still being chased by the usual suspects, but he started to create a little bit of a gap now. I'm not sure if something happened going down the hill that caused a little bit of a checkup for the other 4 guys in this battle. But Brian Lemke was off to a pretty substantial lead compared to what we've seen so far in this race, I should say. But coming down that hill, the draft is going to be ever so important. And no matter what kind of gap Brian Lemke creates, as long as Thomas Lathrop stays in that, that draft range, the tow range, as some people like to call it. I'm not entirely sure what it is in these Mazda MX-5s. I'm sure it's somewhere in the range of 0.9 of a second to 1.3 seconds of a gap. Typically seems to be, where it lies on the iRacing official service, as I'm sure it lies in real life as well. But if Brian Lemke cannot get out of that range, then Thomas Lathrop is just going to be there. And with that comes the whole gaggle of cars behind him, the likes of Michael Chase, James Newell, Moreno Jr., Kevin Zhu, just to name a few. And this race, I have a feeling we're gonna see some last lap shenanigans. I'm not sure what the shenanigans are gonna be. I'm not sure who we're gonna see commit the shenanigans or the horseplay, as I'm sure our mothers said back in the day. I'm starting to become old. I'm getting unk, as the kids say. I'm sitting at 27 right now, so I am getting pretty old, I should say. A little gray in the beard, maybe, is in my near future. But I want to give a big shout out to Apex Sim Racing. They hopped on board the Racer Nexus train. They have got themselves on board as a sponsor. If you need yourself any sim racing accessories, whether it be monitors, mounts, chassis, audio, wheel, pedals, it does not matter. Go to apexsimracing.com, use code RacerNexus, build yourself a bundle. You can build yourself a Sim Magic bundle, MOZA bundle. I'm not sure if they have Fanatec for the bundle creator, but they have a literal bundle creator in their website. You can get a bundle together. You can piece yourself an entire simulation rig. If you want, make sure you use that code RacerNexus for 5% off. It supports us a lot, and you get to save a little cheddar change for your efforts. I want to give a big shout out to TrackCams for Gourmets as well. That's trackcams22.com. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here tonight and across all the Racer Nexus broadcasts. So big shout out to TrackCams22 for making every stream feel so real, feel so immersive, and feel so cool. Aaron Law, who is in what I believe is P4. No, I believe that's aired Sunday, actually. Aaron Law, however, is going to be up 16 positions. I think that's what that means. No, I take that back. He's up 3 positions. I'm very, very sorry. He sits in P11. He is, however, first in the mid-pack Larry's class, and he's got a very sizable gap to second place, which is Glenn Blanchard. As you see, Glenn Blanchard not even to the final corner yet. Aaron Law already starting on the straight to get to the mountain. So that's going to be a very big gap. Now, if we go back and focus on these leaders, Brian Lemke still out in front. They're starting to make moves, though. 4 minutes remaining. There's a very good chance next lap is going to be our last lap. That is crazy to me. It feels like this race just started, ladies and gentlemen. We are already at under 4 minutes to go. So very, very cool to see. Cool to see these drivers being so close after 17 minutes on track. These guys are that close together. The Mazda Sunday Series from Apex, this never disappoints. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please hit that like button. Subscribe to Racer Nexus if you want to see more broadcasts in the future. That could be Apex this, that can be anything that we have to offer. But man, let me tell you, Sunday nights, there's no better place to be than here on the Racer Nexus YouTube channel watching some Apex this Mazda Sunday Series. 2 races, wheel-to-wheel, full grid. You're getting all that action in under an hour. From green on race 1 to checkered on race 2, you're getting under an hour. So much racing under 2 different circumstances, all in an hour time slot. Once again, thank you guys for inviting us into your home here tonight or wherever you're watching, really. The internet is crazy. You could be watching at work. You could be watching at school. It does not matter. Brian Lemke coming around the final corner for what I believe is going to be the second to last time. As, yep, Barney the flag marshal there. He's not going to have the luxury, flag stand that the cousin Bernie does. He's going to have to kind of sit out on the ground. But last lap starting, the two emerging drivers from tonight, Brian Lemke, Thomas Lathrop. Wasn't really how it shook out in race number 1. However, race number 2, that top 4 field invert, it sure does shake up that top 4 because these guys are oh so close every single week. And it seems like that top 4 invert really does shake things up. It really changes things. Gregorio Moreno Jr. is going to actually pass race 1 winner Michael Chase. So Michael Chase, unfortunately, sitting down in P5 currently. Brian Lemke still leading this race. Thomas Lathrop trying to chase him down the best he can. The only problem with this is that Brian Lemke's going to have to fight the draft as we get through this final sector. The hill section here, downhill, is not really going to be too much of a problem. But if Brian Lemke can do it, a lot faster than Thomas Lathrop, then that would negate the gap from the draft, and it would really make it a lot harder for Thomas Lathrop to get an overtake. But here we go down the hill, guys. Final time here at Mount Panorama. What a beautiful course, man. Beautiful circuit, beautiful vibes, beautiful scenery here in virtual Australia. up the little hill before we head back down it for the final time. Thomas Lathrop moving over to the right. Or, I'm sorry, that's James Newell moving over to the right. He's actually going to take the lead. Although he's not going to have an opportunistic position. Brian Lemke is around. He has spun. James Newell around the outside. Brian Lemke with a little bit of a harsh tap. If anything, I thought James Newell was going to go around. But now Michael Chase is here inside final corner. James Newell is going to take the win here at Bathurst in race number 2. Wow. Wow, we got to go back and get a look at that in the Racer Nexus chopper. Brian Lemke, very, very harsh on the door of Newell there. It's also going to collect Lathrop. Oh, no. And then that opened up the door for James Newell and Michael Chase. And look at Michael Chase here. He was not going down without a fight. Look at him trying to squeeze to the inside, but just not enough momentum. James Newell's going to take race number 2. So the pole sitter, although he did not lead too many laps, he is going to be your winner. Aaron Law, unfortunately for the mid-pack Larrys, not much of a fight when it comes to the mid-pack Larry's division. That's going to be a 29-second gap from Aaron Law to William Stern. Uwe Hale going to finish P3 in that class. So unfortunately, the mid-pack Larrys tonight, I guess fortunately for the winners, they kind of got screened off by pro drivers, and it worked out in their favor. Aaron Law nested right up between Spencer Bodwin and Ozzie Silu. He just followed them, and there was no way William Stern was ever going to catch them there. So what a finish to race number 2 tonight. And I believe we've got Brian Lemke in the booth. Brian, Mac up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I sure do. How's it going?
It's going well, and I would like to ask you the same thing. However, I have a bad feeling I know the answer to that. Walk me through it. What exactly happened?
Oh man, I mean, really both races were just action packed. I know the first race there was one time where we were about 5 or 6 cars going through that turn 3 hairpin. Like, what is going on? And then it looked like maybe Charles hit the wall, and then it stacked up a bunch of people, and I managed to sneak through that. Worked my way back up, I think, for a really close P2 on that race. Then that last race, I was just going to work with Michael, but he kind of had a bad run, so I tried getting around him. And then we both kind of went off, and he lost it, so I kind of lost my working partner there. Luckily, Thomas showed up, and he was pushing me all race, which was awesome. But you just can't get away. I mean, there's so much draft. I kind of knew first wasn't the place to be on that last lap. But, you just got to defend as best you can.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of went in there. It looks like I touched the curb just a little bit, and then he bumped into me a little. And I mean, it was just hard racing. I mean, I don't think it was anybody's fault, but just, 4 or 5 cars going for the win in that next to last corners. You never know what's going to happen. And this time I came out on the short end of it.
Yeah,
but luckily I managed to keep going. I think I finished 4th, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was very unfortunate, but fortunately for you, and even a worse unfortunate for Jim Feliz, he finishes below you in both races tonight. So with you only being, what is that math? 23 points behind. Going into Road America, there's something to fight for there.
Yeah, I think it's I will have to see how it shakes out. It should be pretty close. I had way too many incident points tonight, which is a bummer because I really want to try to get that clean points award too, because that's some bonus points that would have helped. I'm not sure tonight's going to help much with that. But yeah, we'll just have to see how the points stack out. I know it's Road America, right? So that's going to be another just crazy draft. I mean, anybody's race in the last half a lap or so. So I'm looking forward to battling out with them. We've I don't think we've really been like door to door too much this season. We're kind of there's usually a car or two between us. So who knows? Maybe next week we'll finally get to battle door to door, me and Jim, and may the best man win. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a very cool show. I have no doubt about that. We'll let you get out of here and celebrate or strategize for now. But before we do, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or thank for the performance here tonight?
Yeah, thank you for stepping in and doing the broadcast. I'm excited to go back and watch it. I get the feeling from where I was sitting, it was probably pretty action packed. So I'm looking forward to watching that. And then yeah, thanks to Apex and Sky Lounge and Racer Nexus and all the people that show up and race every week. It's just made this season so much fun. I've had a blast, so it's been a good one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a blast watching as well, and who knows, next week we might be bringing you into the booth as the champion. Who is to say? But, ladies and gentlemen, your Race 1 P2 and Race 2 P4 finisher here tonight. P2 in the championship is going to be very close next week, Brian Lemke.
Thank you, sir.
And now, I believe we've got race number 2 winner. Yes, we've caught James Newell down there in the pit lane. James, you got to victory lane here tonight. Walk me through it. What did it feel like?
Well, so the entire race, I was kind of struggling for pace, it felt like. But since it's Bathurst, there's so much draft. So the entire race, I was trying to think, where would I want to be for the last lap? And I decided third place. That's why I dove on Michael on the second to last lap, and it ended up working pretty well. Just had to sit behind them for the rest of the lap until the back straightaway. Whenever I sent it in, I was just hoping that they wouldn't be side by side down the back straight, and it worked out. I had the lane, but then going to pass, I knew I had to send it in to hold it around the outside, and unfortunately, Brian and I made contact, and it spun him, took Thomas out. They drove a great race. They did nothing wrong. I have no problems with them. It always just sucks whenever it ends in a wreck. But yeah, after that happened and I realized that I made it through clean, I was just in a little bit of disbelief because after qualifying, I did not have a good qualifying. I was just kind of shocked that I was actually in the lead coming around the last corner. So yeah.
Well, hey, you got it done, and as we head to Road America, last week of the season, is there anything you're looking forward to there, or is it going to be just a, kind of a get it how you live it, just kind of experience it kind of thing?
Well, actually, Road America is probably my best track, so I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, no, I actually won't be able to make it. I will be in Atlanta at the Hoosier Super Tour, so
Oh, wow.
everyone watch that. It's on live stream on the SECA YouTube channel, so go check that out. It will be big racing with like 50 Miatas.
Oh, wow, yeah, that is very cool. Honestly, I think I'd rather be there than on the virtual toy, so I think you kind of got a win-win there. But before we let you get out of here tonight and celebrate, or whatever you plan on doing, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out for the performance here tonight?
I would like to thank Mav Motorsport, the team I'm on, Greg, Charles, Michael, Tony, all of them. They drove great races, helped me out throughout the race, and I want to also thank the people that I was racing against because they drove nice. Thomas pushed me whenever he definitely should have passed me, so I thank him for that. And all these people, super nice. So, yeah, thank the competition.
Well, we thank you for the kind words, and I'm sure everybody on the grid does as well. We'll maybe see you back up here in the booth next week. Or, sorry, I forgot you said you are not going to make it. So, for this season, James Newell, that is your sign-off. But what a way to end it, man, with a win. Go out and celebrate it. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you. See you guys later.
And that's going to do it. That's unfortunately going to do it for us here tonight. I have a very long road trip that I unfortunately must be getting to. I crap you not, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are still watching and or listening. My parents have texted me 2 times in the past 7 minutes. They are sitting outside my door of my house, ready to go. We're going to the Con Ag Expo show in Las Vegas. So I'm going to have to sign off here for tonight. It was wonderful. Thank you guys for inviting me into your homes. It was a fantastic race. Real quick, we'll go through the results of that feature race. For the mid-pack Larrys, it ended up Aaron Law, William Stern, Uwe Hale in P3. Fantastic run out of all 3 of those mid-pack Larry drivers. Going through the top 10, it's going to be Glenn Blanchard, Justin Back, Keegan Garrig, Matt Bond, Pat Wilson, Sean Teeter, and Christopher Croteau. If I pronounced that wrong, please DM me, Mr. Christopher. I'll never mispronounce it again. Going up to your Going Pros class, James Newell, we heard from him, got it done. Michael Chase in P2, Gregorio Moreno Jr. in P3, Brian Lemke, Kevin Zhu, Jim Feliz, Thomas Lathrop, Charles Wolf, Spencer Bodwin, Oz Exilu round out your top 10. Thank you guys for joining us here tonight. It was a blast. It was wonderful. Thank you guys for accepting me. First time doing the Apex This Mazda Sunday series. Besides being on commentary with Rob, but first time I was production and comms, full grid. It felt amazing. It felt fun. This series is always a blast to watch. Big shout out to Apex Sim Racing as always. Use code RacerNexus for 5% off. Big shout out to TrackCams22.com. That's TrackCams for Gourmet. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here tonight and across all of the Racer Nexus broadcast. Guys, my name was Mac Nelson. Hope you guys did enjoy the race. If you did, please leave a little bit of a thumbs up. I think YouTube calls it a like. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see content or races or broadcasts similar to this. Make sure you ring that bell so you never miss when we go live here. You'll never miss your favorite series. Guys, take care of yourself and take care of each other. We'll see you in the next one.